for the welterweight title. Kamaru Usman against Leon Edwards. So Kamaru Usman 20-1 and Leon Edwards 19-3 with 1 no contest. Leon has a 2-inch height advantage. Kamaru has a 2-inch reach advantage. Higher striking output for Usman. Of course, a higher wrestling output, but not a massive amount. 3 takedown average per 15 minutes, 1.48 for Usman. So for Leon, so half the output that Usman has for takedowns, but still a decent output. Higher higher submission average as well. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've done a breakdown show on this one. There'll be a war room up on this one, probably a live one. I think I'm going to do a live one. Anyway, What do you reckon? What's your first thought? Tell me your pick and then tell me why.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Why? Because you might change your mind.
No, I don't think I will change my mind. I feel like Kamaru Usman's going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like he's in this current moment that is unbreakable as a champion.
Mm-hmm.
Like his mindset is strong. He's confident. He won't get... Like, he'll take risk, but enough, he's doing new things and he's trying to be as exciting as possible. And he's taking some time to heal his hand. But, like, mentally, he's just so strong. So strong. I saw him do an interview with Brett Okamoto, yeah. And, like, it's not like how Luke Rockhold when he was like, yeah, I'm going to take his soul. And, he was just straight looking at him like, this is a matter of fact. I train hard and there's always going to be a next guy and they're not. And he's not the type of person who like gets bored in a fight. Like if he has to hold you against the fence for 25 minutes.
He'll do what he needs to win.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
He's just a fantastic competitor. A very explosive athlete, great at what he does, but he's also a fantastic competitor. And that's something that I feel sometimes lacks in Leon Edwards. Like he's such a skilled martial artist.
Yeah, but he doesn't go in there to prove anything necessarily. He underperforms a lot, I think, because I know he's a lot better than what he shows. Like in some of his fights, like Nate Diaz, he got caught in the last round because he was coasting, because he was kind of bored. He was like against Cowboy. I feel like he could have put Cowboy out of there. I felt like he could have put RDA out of there. Like I always feel like he's got like a fourth or a fifth gear that he could jump into, and he just never he just doesn't seem to. And I think it's a benefit for Usman to have fought Leon before, because I think he's going to realize how tough he is to deal with, and he's going to give him a lot more respect. So obviously we've seen champions before, like Anderson. He got a bit comfortable, started playing games with Weidman, Nunes against Pena, maybe didn't take it quite seriously the first time around or whatever. I don't think that's going to be the case with Usman. And I think that he's moved to a new camp, he's adding new things to his game. So I think he's got that kind of excitement that he's still progressing, even though he's at the top of the sport. I can see it being a very frustrating night for Edwards, because I think he's going to expect Usman to try and wrestle him more than he will. And I think Usman's going to strike more than Leon expects.
Yes.
And I think Leon's striking is going to be stifled by the expectation of a takedown.
Yes.
That's my concern for him, because I've been there myself against GSP, and you're like, he's going to level change in a minute. And then you just kind of don't do anything. And what we learned from the first fight is that even when Leon was taken down in the first round, he was close with that triangle. He threatened it. He was, minute 15 on that triangle. He's not out of the fight if it hits the floor, but we also can't count out the idea of Leon taking the grappling to Usman, because I always come back to Koscheck. Koscheck was known as a really good wrestler, and when he fought GSP, it was like, well, I'm a better wrestler than him, so I'm going to work on my striking, and then GSP came out and wrestled him. And because he'd not been working on his wrestling, it kind of slipped. His reactions weren't there quick enough, and I'm not saying that Usman's going to do that because he's working with Gaethje, but Gaethje likes to strike.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's in a gym which is a striking predominant gym with Trevor Whitman. And I would imagine that Usman is going to automatically assume that Leon isn't going to try and wrestle with him, because he's got 100% takedown defense. Of course, people are going to go, well, yeah, Colby took him down. It's not on the stats. I'd have to watch it again and really try and decide whether I would score that as a takedown. But if he's not listed in the stats, it's probably not classed as one. Anyway, I think Leon might, if he's confident and he's willing to roll the dice, I think he'd be smart to try and wrestle and grapple with Usman a bit.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
if he can take him out of his game and surprise him, make him do something that he's not been working on or not been expecting. And Leon's got great submissions as well. I could quite easily see him jumping on Usman's back at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that competitiveness. That's the bit he lacks. Because in order to do that, like, you remember when Vucenic fought Hendon in Cage Warriors a little while ago, defending his belt?
Yeah.
And it was a pretty competitive first round. Came out in the second round and jumped on him, took his back and choked him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of confidence and competitiveness that you need from Leon if he's going to do anything against Usman. And that's the bit I've yet to see.
Yes.
But then I had the same criticism for Usman on his way to the belt as well. He did the whole "that was me at 30% speech in his post-fight interview. I'm like, why are you coasting?
Yeah, but there's been, I don't know if it's just that Leon Edwards hasn't had that streak of finishes like Usman, because Usman had it later in his career, right? When he became champion, things kind of started to string together. And Leon Edwards, I believe it was his first fight, was the second fastest knockout in UFC.
Yeah, it was.
In welterweight. You know, it was 8 seconds.
I was on that call.
Straight left, yeah. So I don't think he doesn't have this ability to knock people out. I just think, things happen.
Yeah.
He just, sometimes a knockout is away by a centimeter.
It is.
You've
also an amount of commitment.
Yeah.
Like for example, and this goes back to your competitiveness thing. Leon got opened up by Masvidal in London backstage, and that fight never came to. Even though they got the actual altercation on film. Like, there's no way that shouldn't have happened in an actual fight in the UFC.
Yeah.
Like that Leon should have pushed for that fight. He should have been talking it constantly. But even if that fight had happened, even if Leon was able to outpoint Masvidal, it would have still been a decision win. Because he wasn't going to do what Usman did to Masvidal, clean his clock with one punch. Because he doesn't commit to his punches like that. He did with his elbow against Gunnar Nelson, a little bit against RDA, but still, like, Usman throws because he knows he can lean straight into his wrestling afterwards.
Yes.
Whereas if Leon steps forward, he's got to make sure that he's prepared for a sprawl. And that's not ideal, especially when you're fighting someone you know is going to level change, which is what's going to make him tentative. Mm-hmm. I would love to see Leon do it. Genuinely, I would. No disrespect to Usman. I think he's a great champion. Of course, I want to see Leon get that belt around his waist just for the sake of having another UK champion. It would be really good for this region. But I just think, like you said, I think Usman's right at the top of his game right now.
Yeah, he's just reached a point of...
Yeah. It's going to be... I mean, you look down the rankings, and I would say he's probably got another 2 or 3 title defenses. It wouldn't surprise me if he moves up. I know he's talked about light heavyweight, but I also could see Adesanya losing his belt in the next couple of fights. And then we might see Usman move up and try for the middleweight belt.
Yeah, because
imagine if Alex beats him. Usman could quite easily go straight up to middleweight and fight Alex for the belt.
That would be interesting.
I could see it happening. But then you look down the welterweight division. Covington, no. Edwards, perhaps. We'll know after this weekend. Chimaev's at number 3. Scary dude. Who's fighting Nate Diaz, who is... Oh, hang on a minute. He's not ranked. That's some bullshit. Anyway, Gilbert Burns at number 4. Nope. Bilal Muhammad, don't see him beating Kamaru Usman. Stephen Thompson's on the downturn of his career. Sean Brady potentially, but he needs another fight or 2 at least before he's up at the belt. And then after that, Jeff Neal's looking good, but then Masvidal, Vicente Luque's just coming off a loss, and then you're into the top 15 after that. I could definitely see Usman defending his belt against Leon, and then, I don't know, I mean, if they give him Chimaev, I think I'd rather go up and fight Alex. If I was a wrestler, I think I'd rather take the chance of taking another belt at a weight class above.
Yeah.
Than risk losing it to Chimaev at welterweight.
Yeah, but Chimaev does get a little bit drawn into a fight.
For sure.
Like what he did with Gilbert Burns.
For sure. We'll see how it goes against Nate. I mean, I think he's gonna beat the hell out of him, to be honest. And if he does that, we're gonna see him in a title shot next, because that's got money all over it. Even though it doesn't make a lot of sense compared to some of the other guys in the division. It will make a lot of sense. I think if Usman wins against Leon, he's going to be quietly hopeful for Adesanya to lose his belt so he can go and have a crack at it without fighting Adesanya.
Yeah, because he won't want to do that.
No. He'd have a good shot against Adesanya, I think.
Yeah.
I just don't know if he's physically big enough for middleweight, you know? Like, he's got a decent reach, but he's not... He's 6 foot, 76 inches. I mean, it's...
It says Kamaru Usman is 6 foot.
Yeah, apparently. I don't think he is.
He's not 6 foot. I have stood next to him.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's not 6 foot.
Anyway, I think Usman's going to do it. I think it's going to be a decision. I think Leon's going to give a really good account of himself, but...
Do you think maybe he cuts him? Do you think maybe Leon is able to cut him with an elbow to where it, like, if Usman sees that he's bleeding, it might draw him out into something?
Maybe. It's going to be hard to cut him or hurt him, I think. Yeah. It's going to be a hard fight for Leon to do anything to Usman. I can just see him being too hesitant to throw because he's expecting Usman to level change. Mm-hmm. And then Usman's beating him at striking as well.
What about his teeps and his back left leg?
Yeah, potentially.
He uses it really well.
He does use that. I mean, he used the front kick in the first fight really well, but I don't know. I think they've both improved dramatically, but I think Usman's just found his groove right now.
Yeah, he just found it.
Yeah.
Like ate a mushroom type of thing, like
Super Mario one.
Yeah, I don't know. Something like that. I didn't play a lot of these games. I don't know.
Okay, so we're both going for Usman?
Yes.
Yeah. Although good luck to Leon. I am hoping you prove me wrong.
Well, how long has Leon been training with that coach that I really like?
Oh, I don't know. Not very long though. Not very long. But although he has been working with Camby a long time, who's a fantastic wrestling coach.
Yes.
Anyway, you're not going to change my mind. I've thought about this fight too much, and I just think it's so difficult to get the belt off Usman at this stage from anybody. For anybody.
Same.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Leon Edwards, he has Usman right in the way.
Yeah.
If not, I feel like he would be champion.
Mm-hmm.